Hey, good afternoon. It's Maria back with another video. It's the last day of the month of July. It's the 31st, of course, and I'm here to make a video on this Monday afternoon. So, I had some things planned this morning and I got a little interrupted. I noticed that when I get interrupted lately, that it just, after I do what I got interrupted from, I tend to just kind of want to sit back and start all the way back to start to point zero. I think it kind of delays me. I don't like deviating from my plans, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. So anyway, I talked about last week about getting the restraining orders, and so I'm moving forward with my life. And I would like to say that, I'm not the kind of person, unlike stalkers, okay, and I'm not trying to bring this up, but when I move on, I don't I don't look these people up on Google. I don't, I don't care about them. I did have to look up information about them because I had to fill out information to file these restraining orders, but throughout the years, it never occurred to me to think about where this person lives, or I haven't thought about these people, okay? But it's better for my healing to move on. So I've been thinking about a lot about, the workplace, and I had found some people on social media. Haven't spoken to them, but I have seen some videos and I've seen some blogs of other people who've written about their experiences with workplace mobbing. And a lot of these people are just repeating my same story. Okay, of course, if it's a guy who experienced this, he's telling it from his particular perspective. Each person, whether they're girl, guy, black, white, whatever, they're all talking about these issues about workplace mobbing from their own experience and why they're shocked. And this is what comes as a surprise to a lot of people. And why they're shocked is because they have been violated multiple times. And the reason why they feel violated is because they're aware of the law and how it applies. Okay, and it's not that when people get bullied, when people are bullying other people, it's not that they're not aware of what they're doing is wrong. They just don't understand why it's wrong. Okay, and then also, there's people on like these blogs, and also some people have made videos, because a lot of, like, for example, in my case, there is no law specifically saying you cannot bully a person at work. You cannot bully a person. No law is written about that yet. I know they're trying to get things changed to where they specifically say workplace mobbing, but it's the reason why you are being mobbed is why and what makes this, in my case, a legal issue. Because obviously I was mobbed for issues relating to my hair, relating to my religion, and these are written into law. Now, there are some people who are targeted individuals, victims also of workplace mobbing, who are having a hard time being able to prove what they're talking about. Like, for example, white men who get mobbed, and yes, there are plenty of white male targeted individuals, they do exist. Okay, we think white men have everything. I would say that they pretty much do, which is one of the reasons why it's kind of odd that you would see a white male targeted individual. But the reason why we see these white male targeted individuals is because everybody has problems within their family dynamic. Everybody's got problems. And if you have problems in your family dynamic, then you're going to have problems in everything else. Because one thing that people do when they have issues with you is they like to recruit other people. Okay, so it happens to everybody. The only issue is when it happens to white men, they have a very difficult time proving it, their case. Like in my case, I can prove I was discriminated based off the things that people said, the things that they did. I was discriminated against my hair, which is basically a discrimination against my race. Bringing the girl Selena in and using her to compare me, a woman who's like, I don't know, 16, maybe 16 years older than her, comparing us. What are you comparing it to? Why would you compare a young girl against an old woman? And let's, of course, you're basing it on one thing, which is race. Okay, so this whole issue is based on race. I can prove that. Okay, a white man is going to have a very hard time proving why somebody was picking on him. Okay, but he can prove it if he has a disability. If he is odd and unique in some way, like maybe he might have Asperger's. Okay, no, I don't have Asperger's. Okay, but if he does have Asperger's, then the reason why he might be quirky, the reason why he might be having these little weird habits that people are picking on him for, then that might be something that he can use if that is exactly the case. And chances are it is. because he might be the way that he is based based on his behavior traits that his family doesn't quite understand, and they're persecuting and getting this thing on him. But there are reasons why people, targeted individuals, deal with the kind of trauma, because we don't expect to be bullied in a place that we work at. We don't expect this to have laws being broken or people not understanding how the laws apply. See, and this is what I'm talking about, and I am not trying to offend anybody in this community, because I understand, I would say the average IQ, from what I understand, is anywhere from 85, which is very low, to, I would say, the highest is usually maybe like the 130, okay? And I'm not bragging, because this is something I don't talk about very often, but obviously I do have a very high IQ. So when I understood, when I was told the employment laws, which I studied the employees, I read the employment laws, and also, of course, they were constantly reinforced because they were always on the wall, okay? I understand what they mean and how they apply. If something was to happen in a work situation, I would recognize, okay, wait a second, does this issue, and this is what HR individuals should be thinking. They should be thinking, okay, this girl's coming here telling me this about this other girl, okay? How did what they want to, they should be doing, okay? They should be thinking, how and which law does this apply to? Because you want to make sure, okay, that this issue that this person's being bullied for, they have a justification for it. And if they do have justification, the company needs to protect themselves. But they're never, the HR is never there for the victim. They're always there to protect the best interests of the company. But to protect themselves, if they were smart and really to protect themselves, they would say, okay, how does this fall into the guidelines of these particular issues? So let's just say, for example, I was a white girl and I was bullying a girl who was Asian. Every day I'd go in there and say stuff about her eyes. I would talk about, I would make little noises like, yeah, the ting tong tong, that kind of offensive type of stuff, okay? I was doing that every single day at work, okay? And so this girl goes to talk to HR and says, hey, this person is saying this all the time. Now, HR sometimes, they will dismiss it. Like in my case, when I had valid reasons to complain about what was going on, I dealt with the gaslighting. I was told that I was paranoid. This is what really bothers me. I was told I was too sensitive, okay? What they need to think about is, review their employment laws. And they're very basic. I would say there's maybe about no more than 20 basic laws. If they fall under this category, okay, they're making fun of this girl's eyes. They're making fun of her race. Okay, so this issue needs to be addressed right away and nipped in the bud. Okay, so you need to bring these people in. Do not sit here and try to make the white girl or whoever apologize to the Asian girl. You don't need to do that, because she doesn't mean it anyway. She will never mean her apology. She meant what she said. She's obviously a racist and she has an issue. So there's no point in making her apologize, okay? But she does need to understand, if she does it one more time, she's terminated. If you care about your company, you're going to make sure you don't have to worry about a discrimination lawsuit, okay? Now, as for the girl, which deep down inside, HR chances are probably really doesn't care about the girl's feelings, okay? But they should care enough about protecting their company. If they care about protecting the company, they'll make sure that that issue never gets addressed again. If an HR person, if somebody comes to an HR person and complains that they have been an issue of racial discrimination has taken place, it's HR's responsibility to get on it right away. On it right away. That involves an investigation and all the other follow-ups that they recommend you do. I guess you can contact SHRM or some other human resource company, because I don't do that kind of work anymore. And I was never that engrossed in it, but I did know those basic steps. And I also understood that you're supposed to follow the guidelines of the law. So if they require that you fill out some sort of investigation, then you need to do that. Fill it out, but make sure it never happens again. Make sure you follow that protocol, okay? But for the girl, she should be assured that doesn't happen again, and and it shouldn't happen again. Whether the company cares about that girl's personal feelings or not, it's a responsibility. It doesn't happen, and she will feel a whole lot better if it gets addressed, okay? So there are issues, and see, this is my problem, is that when I was dealing with what was going on over at all the other places that I got mocked out of my job, all the places I got harassed for, and all the issues that I was dealing with, I understood what I should be getting. I kept thinking I should be suing these people, but they didn't. And see, this is the shitty part. I was in a community where people were very ignorant and very corrupt, okay? So let me just kind of go over just a few. employment laws and how they make sense, okay? Like, for example, when you look at something that says, okay, Discrimination Law Act, like the Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, okay? You cannot, based on this law, that there should be no discrimination or harassment based on race, color, sex, age, nationality, genetic information, and get this, retaliation for reporting discrimination or harassment. Now, what happened to me over at the farmer's place when I was being harassed over my hair, and then I left the company and quietly tried to find something else? What happened when they followed me? What are you trying to do? Constantly bring up the subject, constantly trying to bring up the argument, constantly trying to prove your point. That's what you're trying to do. You are trying to harass me and for a retaliation. You want retaliation. They wanted to punish me continuously for what happened to the farmers at the farmer's place. Okay, I am protected. I understood that this was a huge, huge issue. Okay, so one of the reasons why targeted individuals are so in shock is because they were a victim of a crime that could literally kill them. And also, and done it in a way that was so painful, so hurtful, so shocking that it just blows their mind. You know what I mean? It is said that there is a certain profile of a targeted individual. A targeted individual is generally a hardworking individual who has very high standards. Okay, so you know, like for example, if there's a girl at school and she's just really, she's really prissy, like she does all her filing in a certain way. Now, I wouldn't say I'm the greatest filer, but still, this is just an example. She does everything right. Okay, she does everything right. She speaks well. She behaves well. She acts accordingly to whatever situation she's in. Okay, she's got style. She's got grace. She's intelligent. She's got whatever. Okay, and I'm not saying I'm all of those things, but this is the profile of the people who do get bullied. Okay, it's the people who dress nice, the people who speak well, the people who do all these things. Why? Because there's a certain amount of envy. In this particular case, I was dealing with envy from the people that I used to know. And I don't even know if it's necessarily envy, but whatever the case is, they wanted me to change my lifestyle to adhere to their made-up religious beliefs as they went along. Okay, whatever the case is, we are shocked because there's not enough understanding of these laws, and they kind of post them on the wall. They might talk about them. They talk about them, you know, in the workplace, maybe as through training, but they don't talk about or how to identify when these issues come up, and that's the problem. Okay, because in this case, I mean, my rights were literally, you know, invalidated, and I'm shocked because it's happened multiple times. Okay, and here we go. I mean, the laws are written for our protection, and they cover so much. And this is what hurts targeted individuals so much, is because we've been bullied for things that we have the right to do. This is what we try to do. We are trying to live our lives, and we constantly get bullied, and people constantly, you know, ignore employment laws and deprive us of our right to live over and over and over again. You know, and it becomes like, it is shocking. You know, I would say, you know, I've been working for, well, I've been working for longer than when I used to work in accounting. I don't know. I started to work first when I think it was 16 or 17, okay? And in every job, I've always had this presence, this mobbing, this intruder, this stalker, these stalking people who now have become this huge group of people who continue to stalk me and cause me problems, okay? It is the most frustrating and painful thing in the world when you feel as though you have a void in your life, because you constantly being around people that denigrate you, they don't appreciate you. If they feel eclipsed by you for whatever reason, then they want to take what you have for their own pleasure. You know, this bullying campaign. And what they don't understand is that this is a very typical behavior trait of people who bully. And this is one of the reasons why one of the reasons why people like myself live in a constant state of post-traumatic stress disorder. And this was discussed a lot on these blogs and these other issues and in videos that I had been watching about all the other people. And most of the people who are targets, they have problems with their work environment from the very get-go. Because when you get to the work environment, they're already, the work environment has already been infiltrated and indoctrinated to have certain ideas about you. And they feel it's their responsibility to, indoctrinate you or change you, when this is not the issue. You took the job because you're here to do a job. Because, at this point in my life, I just need to make some money to make sure that I'm not a burden to my kid and I can die, at least have a proper, well, I choose to be cremated, but whatever. It is at this point, because they don't realize how much they take from you. They take pretty much your entire life from you with their game playing, you know what I mean? And that's the biggest part of the trauma, is when you look back all these years where somebody literally took your life from you. Forcing you to be within a relationship or the life that they literally, years that I've taken, that was taken from my life, from being associated with the wrong people. And then knowing that you will most unlikely never be able to find people that you truly click with, because the environment is usually always controlled. So I have to be very careful about who I can be friends with, and then you're dealing with people who don't understand that I remember when I was getting mobbed, this girl, I think it was Selena. She says, well, you have everything. Okay, this is the perception of these people. They are jealous because they feel as though you have more than what they have. Okay, and in their mind, they feel like they have the right to bully you for it, and then you don't. Okay, but I would like to say, no, I don't feel as though I have everything. Okay, I don't have a social circle that I feel happy with, that I feel comfortable with, that I will ever feel like I have any sort of, affection for or anything for. I will never have a good friend that I feel anything that I should be feeling for. And it's unfortunate because I'm on bubbles. Or people have, been like, told things about me, or, because I have a different view or whatever, and it is what it is. Okay, but whether people agree with it or not, here's the guidelines of the law, and I have a right to. And bullies think, well, if I bully her out of it, that's not, I'm not going to go there, okay? What I'm saying is, people like me and other targeted individuals, we are very, very hurt. We've dealt with years of multiple forms of abuse, okay? Some people look at us as like survivors, because for some of us, such as myself, we've dealt with it for decades. Over and over and over again, going into a workplace that is highly toxic. And one thing that employers should be doing, and see, the workplace is designed and structured all wrong. Okay, the reason why they have these issues and there's so many people unhappy with their work is because there's not a clearly defined line between what an employer should be doing what's within their right to do. Okay, I understand there's going to be friendships and there's going to be cliques. There's networks. Networks exist. They exist within churches. They exist within, people in your neighborhood. Hey, I might say, hey, Jane, how are you? And Jane says, hey, Marie, you still need a job? I know someone over here, and those things work. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but when you do it with this whole purpose where, Maria's the bad person only because she doesn't accept your religion. Maria's a bad person because, she goes for a walk. Maria's a bad person because she works in accounting at one time, and then she also likes arts, and she likes music. I have every right to. Okay? Once again, I'm going to say this one more time, and this is not me bragging by any means, okay? When you have genius traits, such as I do, we have artistic abilities, and we also have what they call analytical abilities, and they are blended into a cohesive whole. Okay? Which means I'm a unique individual. That's the part of being somebody who has a high IQ, who is a genius. Okay? There's stories of geniuses who are able to, for example, do extreme mathematical equations, but yet write lovely poetry. It's literally about a person who has these particular traits. These, what they call outstanding traits, is what the school system has built their curriculum on. A person like myself. What I mean by that is that you notice how the school is constantly, they want you to learn this skill, at least they used to. The education system used to be built on something that was practical and ideal, but was meant to make you a well-rounded person. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things I do not understand about science, but here's the point. They want you to be understood, they want you to understand science, they want you to understand math, they want you to be able to read well, and understand how to diagram sentences, how to speak properly, right? And they also teach you things like, what? Arts. The arts. To have an appreciation for the arts, to have an appreciation and an open mind towards what's exotic and what can actually fill the soul. And that's perfectly fine to have be well-rounded. The problem with it is that standardized testing, things like employment tests, things like these sort of things that you do in school, it puts you in a box. It's about being what? Indoctrinated into one form of thinking. Okay? There is more, not one size does not fit all. And a lot of people are waking up to this. There's a lot of people waking up to this. A lot of people have long taken their kids out of public school. Okay? And we can obviously, see that not only, I'm not just talking about Bakersfield, which is known to have a very, people who are not as intelligent as people on the outside. Okay? And this is not me bashing Bakersfield in any way. Okay? This is the way it is. Okay? And the majority of people really don't have that high of an IQ anyway. Okay? But that's my point. The point I'm trying to make right now is we have people like my ex-blood relations, okay? There's white and black people in this family, okay? And they were doing stupid stuff like this, thinking it's okay to make fun of somebody's hair, thinking it's okay to do these sort of things, and not thinking about the repercussions of it, okay? It's about, and then thinking that, because you can do one, you're supposed to be one thing, you're supposed to be another. I have the right to be who I am. Whether you agree with it or not. Whether Karen Johnson's, because Karen Johnson's always been a very, and this is, I understand how narcissistic people work, and by me saying this, by you trying to pull out manipulative tricks, bullying tactics, and things like this in the workplace, that is a form of retaliation. I have the right to speak out about my feelings and be who I am. Okay, but you keep coming around and having people bully me, and having, the girl at my last job say something stupid or whatever, that is a form of, you're coming back to bring up what? To start a conversation that should have ended when we were at Marie's Family Farms place, or when I was over at Karen's place. Okay, when I walked away from the company, which I walked away from Karen's company, like that was my choice. Okay, because I was going out on disability and I really needed it at the time. I was shocked that this happened. Okay, that I was being bullied at my workplace, and I needed help. Okay, and I left. And see, what happens a lot of times when you leave? They come back. And this is why I'm saying, I should have sued these people multiple times. Okay? And what a lot of targets are is that we work the hardest. Okay? We may not be like the best people at Excel or whatever, but we give it our best. We take it seriously. We do what we can. And we are, unfortunately, some of the most abused people, and we struggle. We struggle because we can never find consistent employment. Because what ends up happening is you start a job and then here comes the bullying all over again. And this is the reason why I'm getting the restraining orders. This is the reason why I need to put a stop to it. Because it continually happens. Now, I will tell you that at my last job, I knew it was there. I knew it was there. I tried to deny that it was there, but it was there. You know what I mean? And I will say though, I was happier at that job when I first started there. Okay, things were doing pretty good, but I kind of figured something was going to happen somewhere down the road. Okay, and it just got sick from there. But anyway, to me, the issue is settled. That should have never happened over at the farmer's place. Also, the issue of all these other issues that went on. I'm not interested in carrying on an argument. Myself needs to heal more than anything else in this world. And I feel so sorry for some of the stories I've heard from all these other targets. Some of them are very heartbreaking. It's very heartbreaking, because that kind of betrayal of people like literally conspiring against you, that's enough to have a person just literally fall over dead of a heart attack. Literally, it's that shocking. It's that like, oh my God, I cannot believe it's a lot on a person. It really is a lot on a person. So anyway, going back to where this relates to the employment place, this is why people are complaining about their employment. They're complaining about not the main reason. There's all kinds of reasons. There's reasons about narcissistic bosses, bosses that like to bully people, and they need to think about when they're trying to do things to other people, where does this fall? If you base it off of the guidelines of the law. Okay, when you get angry and you feel like you want to bully somebody, you need to think about the employment laws, and seriously, you really need to. What does the federal, if I'm going to sit here and harass this person over this issue, where does this fall into place of the federal and the state guidelines? Okay? And if Maria gets bullied because she decides to wear a dress that day, and it's not because she's trying to get male attention, it's just because it's hot outside and it's easy to slip on, and it's Wednesday, so she decided to wear a turquoise dress, by the way. She wears one, and hey, but we want her to make sure that she stays, and I'm not even married, okay? But let's just say I was married. If I'm going to be married, I'm going to be married to somebody really cool. So let's make it, I don't know, we'll just make a name for this one. Okay, Mr. Cool. Maria's married to Mr. Cool. Maria's married to Mr. Cool, and Mr. Cool got her that job. So we got to make sure that Maria doesn't have any other relationships. No, you do not. That's when that is written into employment law. Your marital status, you do not hire somebody because they're married or unmarried or whatever. And there's a bunch of scenarios that fall into this. Like, for example, sometimes people don't want to hire you because you're married. Because they figure if you're married, you got to do married things, like take care of a family or get pregnant somewhere down the line. And they don't want to hire you. They would much they might feel much happier hiring somebody who's just straight out of college, who's not really necessarily waiting to be married or whatever. So some people do that, and they think that that's an okay thing to do. And in the back of your mind, a lot of people's mind, that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. But if you were to articulate that or write that on a piece of paper, you might get yourself into trouble. And why? Because that shows that you're discriminating against age. There's age discrimination. I don't need to have anything brought up about my age. Oh, Maria's 52. She really should be getting married by now. Really bring this up at work issue. Why are you talking about any of that? Okay? This is what I'm saying. What other people think is you're making a big deal out of this, Maria. This is why. The guidelines of the law. And the reason why you're not supposed to fall out of those guidelines is because it harms the individual. I'm harmed because people thought that I was married and thought that I was an adulteress. Okay? I'm harmed because people are paying more attention to my hair than anything else. I'm a black woman. You don't need to talk to me about my hair. Don't tell me how I'm harmed because I've been denied my own personal right of expression. That's my right. And drawing attention to it, especially in the manner that it falls into the category of sexual harassment. So is it any wonder why targeted individuals are in so much trauma? We're traumatized. And the reason why we're traumatized, and here's the main reason, is because other people feel entitled to manipulate us financially, our fate. That's why. Okay? That means if they want to make you poor, they can make you poor. If they want me to be thrown out in the street, they obviously demonstrated that they could. They can. Okay? It's a threat to our lives. So anyway, I hope that helps employers anyway. Talking about where does this fall in the guidelines of the law. When you hear people talking about bringing in these issues into the workplace, you should listen and think about where does this fall into that category. If a girl is making fun of another girl because she looks nice that day, and I'm not talking about sexy, she just looks nice today. Usually she wears her hair down, up in a bun, and one day she decides that, she's gonna let it go. And people are like, ooh, okay, you know what? I understand. Some people think that some people are going to get flattered by that, okay? But because it can eventually lead to bullying, that's why you shouldn't be doing it. Now, sometimes it's nice to get complimented if people like what you're wearing, or genuinely like what you're wearing. Sometimes people will compliment you, and there's actually hiding some form of jealousy because they're gossiping about you. So it's not really an actual compliment, but you don't want to single a person out for over excessive attention, okay? Because that's what leads to the harassment. Okay, the girl who usually wears her hair up in a ponytail or a bun or whatever, she decides to wear it down that day, and people are paying her attention. This is just an example, okay? She has her own personal reasons for doing that. And why are you sitting here trying to force somebody to explain what she has the right to do? Now I understand there's certain women, like for example, I think Taylor Swift is a very beautiful woman. Okay, I don't know much about her songs or anything like that. I don't know anything about Taylor Swift, like pretty much at all, other than I know that she's a singer and a songwriter, and I've seen her on some of these internet commercials that I have no choice but to watch. Okay, and but let's just say, for example, she got hired at a new place and she walks in. Now, obviously, Taylor Swift is a beautiful woman. Okay, and I think what goes on in a lot of people's mind is they get a little jealous. They get a little jealous because Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman, right? So they feel as though they have the right to bully her and then say that and start rumors about her and talk about her and all this other stuff about her. Okay, here's the thing. Taylor Swift has the right to groom herself. She has the right to put on her favorite outfit. She has the right to be who she is. And believe it or not, by you bullying her, you are harassing her. And I know a lot of women don't want to hear this because their first instinct when they feel intimidated, because I understand there are some women who threaten other women. Okay? And I think Taylor Swift would be one of them. Okay? And I'm talking about in the world of celebrities. To me, like Taylor Swift and among other celebrities, she's like a celebrity. Okay? And there's other people who are like her, but Taylor Swift, somebody with the looks of Taylor Swift, okay? And I'm not, obviously do not have the same look as Taylor Swift or even the same category. This is an example. But obviously somebody who looks like Taylor Swift, okay, is going to come into an environment where the majority of the people who don't look like her. Nowadays, most people don't take care of themselves, okay? But is it her fault that she chooses to? No, it is not. Because everybody knows, and they should know by now, okay, and they should have known by kindergarten, that this is what you're supposed to strive for. You're supposed to take care of yourself. You are supposed to make sure that you live the best life you possibly can. And that includes taking care of your body, inside and out. Okay? Is Taylor Swift wrong for being Taylor Swift? No, she's living to the highest level she possibly can. That's what she's supposed to do. That's what everybody is supposed to do. And because she's attained it, you get these little catty women who are a little jealous because they have not attained it themselves. Do they have the right to bully her? No, they do not. And the law says they don't. Okay? Because when you start bullying people because she looks nice in her sweater, or she looks nice in her jeans, which she should be, guess what? That's sexual harassment. It is. Okay? So some of these people think, well, they say, well, workplace bullying, there is no law against it. No, it's not specifically against workplace bullying. It's why are you bullied? And if it falls under those categories, which they do, then you're in the right. So I'm going to wrap up this video. I will be back with another one sometime later. Take care.